Oh, you saved me from the evil man. Thank you. I'm bored.
Teacher!
Yeah?
What's fencing?
Fencing is the physical and mental sword fighting sport that requires you to outplay your opponent with strategy in order to win.
The European art of fencing has been around for thousands of years. Homer wrote of fencing in his epic narrative poem, the Iliad, which was first composed around 750 BC in ancient Greece. In the poem, the Greek hero Achilles beats his Trojan rival Hector in one-on-one combat. However, as fencing progressed, it evolved from a form of combat to a sport in either the 14th or 15th century. Fencing much later became an Olympic sport in 1896 and has remained one ever since.
You guys are probably wondering, how do I utterly crush my opponents in the elegant yet complex game of fencing? Well, it's simple. In order to defeat your enemy, you must score more points than them. To score points, you have to strike your opponent with your weapon before they hit you, while also dodging and blocking their attacks. Back then, during the Renaissance era, people would either fight until someone starts bleeding or to death in order to see who won the match. But in today's age, we have a different way to decide the victor. Instead of participating in acts of murder, we use non-lethal weapons that can tell us the exact time a player made contact with the other person and make a conclusion of who gets the point. The person to win a couple of rounds first becomes the grand winner, and they get bragging rights.
Over the centuries, fencing has evolved and we started using newer weapons to duel. There are 3 different types of weapons you fence with. Number 1. The foil is a light and flexible weapon used for thrusting into the opponent.
Ouch.
Number 2. The épée is a heavier and more solid version of the foil, also used for thrusting. Number 3. The saber, which is a light weapon that can be used for slashing and thrusting into the opponent.
The reason why people fenced each other back then was to assert dominance and show that they are better than someone else, much like those toxic kids who play Fortnite today. Another reason why people fenced each other back then was to get revenge on someone who insulted them. Also, dueling was a great way to gain reputation within your community. By gaining a higher reputation through winning duels, you would be seen as a more important person in society. Like this guy.
Can I play you a song? Will you marry me?
Higher reputation meant things like more friends, more parties, and better opportunities for jobs. On the other hand, if you had a low reputation, you were often removed from society.
Hey guys, this has been Fencing, and this is the story of how I met your 2 beautiful mothers.